Hey, welcome back to the Big Red Zone. We are very excited for today's show. Remember, new episodes come out every Thursday. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the like button on this video as well as all our other videos. You can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Big Red Zone. And as always, tell a friend. This week, it's the Danny Football birthday episode. We'll celebrate Danny Football's birthday with some wild card weekend recaps. Also, go through the rest of the playoffs, make some predictions, and look at the NFL coaching carousel. Lots of openings. So we'll break those down and take a guess on who's going to go where. All that and more on this week's episode of the Big Red Zone. Welcome to the podcast. This is the Big Red Zone. I'm your host, Big Red. As always, I'm joined by the birthday boy, Danny Football.
Thank you, Big Red. Thank you.
We were saying welcome to the 27 Club.
Good to be here. We really put the work in, executed where we had to execute. It's all about longevity in this league, and I'm just glad to be a part of the 27 Club.
Yeah, it's been a pretty esteemed club to be a part of, and even though I too am aging out of the 27 Club, I'm moving on to another franchise in April. It's great to be on the same team as always this time of year for a couple nice short but glorious months with Danny Football.
Always good to share the same clubhouse with a legend as yourself.
Oh, stop it! But care to share any of the big birthday plans that you're up to?
We got a Lowell hockey game on Friday night, so maybe some rock climbing Saturday, and then we'll be in attendance for the Celtics Knicks game next Thursday. So more of a spreading it out into like a good little birthday month to really get my money's worth out of it. But
as you should.
Absolutely. So we got some good activities coming up here.
Well deserved.
Thank you.
Yeah, the Knicks game should be fun. I'm going to the Warriors game this week, the big game in the package. So, got to root on the boys. They got us back-to-back weeks. Danny Football. I'll try to get them a win on Thursday, and then you got them a win on Thursday. We got to keep. Hey, the season's begun. You always say after Christmas when the season begins, the season has officially begun, and we are still in first place. But let's get into some football talk. It was a wild card weekend this past Saturday and Sunday, and it's still going on tonight. We don't know the conclusion of the Bucks and Cowboys game, but let's get into this wild card edition of Weekend Recap.
It's the Weekend Recap.
All right, so for Weekend Recap, we picked 3 games from the NFL week. Up first, I think is, in my opinion, I think we should end with it, but I'm going to say because it was the first game, this is our first game on the agenda. The Jags versus the Chargers. I think this was the game of the week, to be honest with you. I just want to say before we get into the comeback, this was a comeback from your boy, yours truly, Danny Football. Because with a record on the line of not being wrong since September 14th, I picked the Jags to win in picks of the week last week. So I thought my streak had come to an end.
It was on
I picked 2 last week. So that was what I was thinking of. I wasn't thinking of the Jags' hopes and dreams ending. I was thinking about all the Big Red fans out there that have been playing along at home, saying, you know what, I got to ride this heater. And sure enough, Big Red comes out on top again. Both picks of the week for me last week came true. I picked the Bengals and I picked the Jags. So, it's I hope you're playing along.
All those money line bettors, man. You got to hit that. All those money line bettors.
And I hope I can't believe if you're not putting. I can't believe I'm not putting money down. But if you're not putting money down with Big Red, you maybe want to start going into this last few weeks. Get a little magic here. But unbelievable comeback. You have it right here. 27-0 start, ends 31-30. They go on a 31-3 run at towards the, I think it was second,
Yep.
mainly the second half, but I think second quarter, second half. I have a lot of thoughts on this game, but I want to get your take on this unbelievable comeback by the Jags.
Yeah, very akin to that Vikings game a couple weeks ago where the Vikings were down huge and they kind of stormed back, and I wasn't watching, but I was getting the alerts, and I'm like, wait, they're not actually doing this, are they? This game I caught a little bit of, not all of it, but again, just open up the ESPN app, you see the Chargers are up 27-0. You think this game's in the bag. Justin Herbert's gonna move on, get that playoff win. Jags, thanks for coming out. Good to be here. But Jags don't go away. Jags hang tough. Stick around. Score a couple touchdowns. Get this a little bit close. Joey Bosa has an absolute meltdown towards the end, and hands the Jags an easy 2-point conversion for the lead, and then not the lead, but to cut a little bit closer, and then sets up a field goal to take the lead and ultimately the win. So you have it here in the notes. It was a tough start for Trevor Lawrence, but in the end, man, it's all about how you finish. And Trevor Lawrence finished a really good game. Really came into his own. This is a guy who's gone through a lot in his first couple of years here in the league. The Urban Meyer experiment did not help him. They put a couple pieces around him, but again, not a huge flashy offseason for the Jags. But it was enough to win their division, get a home playoff game, and turn a 27-0 deficit into a 31-30 win. I feel for the Chargers. I'll let you kind of hit on the Chargers once I kind of get off this point, but good for the Jags. This is a franchise that had a cup of coffee in the AFC Championship game against the Pats a couple years ago. Came right back down to earth, completely blew it up with Urban Meyer, but always good to see a franchise bounce back.
Yeah, especially a team that hasn't really had a lot of experience winning. Like I'm actually happy because they were writing this kid Trevor Lawrence off, and I think he's like he's a superstar. I think he could be as good as Joey Burrow. He's just got all the tools. But yeah, unbelievable comeback. I think it's an even worse show by the Chargers. I mean, this was a team that we thought going into the year was finally going to put it all together and pop. We thought, I said it before the season, I thought Justin Herbert would be the MVP of the season of the league. I thought this offense would just dominate. I thought the defense was well put together. But in the end, they had the same problems that they had in the regular season in this first game, is they couldn't finish a lot of games. They lost a lot of games that they should have won. Not to this level, obviously, but quite embarrassing here. And speaking to a lot of Charger fans, I have a couple friends that are Chargers fans. They can't wait to get rid of Stanley. Like, they think he's or was it Stanley, right?
Yeah.
They want to get rid of him, and I mean, kind of good reason. I think he's made a lot of questionable moves. A lot of he hasn't been able to deliver. And if this is
pointed at that Week 18 game where you played a lot of starters, and then you lose Mike Williams for the divisional game.
Right. You lose a key guy, and for the most part, that first half they really didn't need him. It didn't really show. Their offense was great.
Right.
I think they got a lot of talent already, but again, like you said, when you're going into the playoffs, you want to load up, and if you have no chance, you're already in the playoffs and you're already kind of locked into where you're supposed to be. Just let it ride, like the Giants. The Giants won this week, crazy fashion, beating the Vikings. But that last, like you said, that Week 18 game, Brian Daboll sits, Danny Dimes sits, all his starting players, Saquon. He's like, we're locked in. Who cares? We don't care about this game. We care about next week. And, who's to say it helped or didn't help? But all I know is you have a bye week for Daniel Jones and a bye week for Saquon Barkley, a bye week for all these guys. And it showed, I think, in that Vikings game. And I think it also showed in this Chargers game. I don't know what the answer is because they've been a disappointment, but I don't think they should blow this team up by any means.
No.
But they need to make a serious change in the organization. And I think the head coach is where they start. You know what I mean? I think they have a good enough team to win. It's not like the GM put together a crappy team.
No.
He put together a pretty decent team. It has its flaws, but it's a really good team. And I think they just need another new fresh blood in the head coaching chair next offseason, next regular
I
season.
think if you look at the head coaching, I mean, last season it was a disappointing season. You missed the playoffs completely despite your roster, and now this year you make the playoffs, but choking away a 27-0 lead is almost inexcusable. You have Justin Herbert, young quarterback. You have Austin Eckler. You have, this collection of good offensive players. Your defense was half decent, maybe not as good as it should have been, but half decent. This is a team that should be winning playoff games. This is a team that should be competing. This is a team that should be going after division championships and pushing to the AFC championship game. And they're not there. And maybe a couple things go differently in this game. They win and everything's, roses for Stanley, but it's not. You choke away a 27-point lead, you lose by 1, and now everyone's looking at you as the problem. So, it's a dog eat dog league, and if I'm the Chargers, I think you have to look at the head coach as a potential problem and a potential handcuff on your team, because you only have Justin Herbert on his rookie deal for so long. You only have Austin Eckler as a top running back for so long. Like there's a shelf life to this window, and if you're not careful, the wrong coach can hold you back, and all of a sudden this window is going to close.
Right. And I mean, Keenan Allen's not getting any younger.
Right.
Mike Williams has had injuries a lot this year. You just gave him a big contract. So you're right. You're running out of years with this. You have the windows, the years of having like a Patriots window of like 20 years is gone. Like that never will happen. So teams' windows are like 5 on a good seat, like a good team, 5 years. And they haven't even cracked the second round of the playoffs, and you're in year 3 of Justin Herbert. It's like they should be second round of the playoffs every year with that guy in that offense, because you're right. Eckler's getting older. Keenan Allen's getting older. Mike Williams is getting older. And not that Herbert's old, but Herbert's aging out of that rookie contract to build up the team around him. So they're in a dangerous situation. With that said, they still have an unbelievable roster together. So, I mean, a head coaching, the GM's not going to be looking to point fingers at himself. The players are going to point fingers at themselves. So I feel like, he's going to the head coach is going to end up getting the blade and falling on the sword for this team. So we could be seeing we're going to be going through the coaching carousel. There may be another team added to that list very soon. So disappointing loss for the Chargers, without a doubt. But, I think the Jags, common Danny football phrase, they're playing with house money. They're
house money, man. House money.
You're going to go into Kansas City and try to do what you can against who I think is going to win the whole thing. And, if they win, that's even better. If they lose, who expected the Jags to get to the second round of the AFC Championship? I don't think many people would have picked them to go far. So let's move on to the second game. Bills versus Dolphins, a little AFC East showdown. This, for all intents and purposes, should have been a blowout. I think everyone that picked this was going into this game last week. Steve Scott, shout out Steve Scott from Small State Big Takes, was on the pod, and we talked about it. We're like, the Bills game is probably going to be the worst game of the week because it's going to be just a blowout. They're trying out Skylar Thompson. The Dolphins are like, why do we have to play another week? You know what I mean? So, but to many people's shock, it was a pretty good game. It was a great game. The Bills come out first quarter, quick 14-0. That 60-yard bomb to Stephon Diggs down to set him up for the first touchdown was pretty unbelievable. But then the Dolphins respond with 17 points in the second quarter, and actually go into halftime down 3. What was it? Down 3? No, down 4. Down 3.
They were down 3 going into the half, and they came out in the second half, got that fumble recovery to take the lead.
Yeah, it was like, holy, is the Dolphins going to upset the Bills right now? And the Bills looked like they didn't know what hit them. Defensively, the Bills couldn't handle it. The Bills couldn't handle the Dolphins defense for large parts of that game. But my biggest takeaways from this, and I'll let you go at it. Questionable play calls by McDaniels down the stretch kind of showed his rookie head coaching lack of experience late in that game for the Dolphins, and that kind of cost him one. But the Bills bleed. I didn't think it was going to happen. I thought, the Bills were going to rally and just roll through this playoffs, like, but he asked me like within the last couple weeks. But I don't see this team winning the whole thing or even making it to the Super Bowl. I really don't.
I think watching the game, Bills come out to that lead. It's kind of a two-way street for me. It's on one hand, are the Bills going to make that many mistakes in a row again? Or did they kind of get it out of their system now and they'll be good the rest of the way? Because the way I kind of look at this game is the Bills played probably their worst game they could have possibly played, and they still won. So you got to think, even if if 3 wheels fall off, they're still going to win on that one wheel. You need that 4th wheel to fall off for them to lose. So I'm kind of wondering, will the Bills put themselves in this bad of a position again? Considering, Josh Allen throws 2 straight interceptions, comes out of the second half, fumble recovery for a touchdown. That completely set back the offense, and they did struggle to kind of get their footing again until they got that Gabe Davis touchdown. I think it was more of a case of the Bills falling apart, spotting the Dolphins some easy points, and that making it a game rather than the Dolphins kind of earning their way back in there. Because Skylar Thompson was playing scared for 90% of that game. I know he had a good touchdown drive to Glisky. But other than that, that dude was just running for his life the entire game.
He was throwing some
He did have some good throws for drops, so maybe I'm being a little bit too hard on him. But my perspective of the game was the Bills were just constantly shooting themselves in the foot, and even that wasn't enough for the Dolphins to steal this. So I like to think going into next week against the Bengals, who we'll get to, I don't know if Josh Allen is going to come out and throw 2 consecutive interceptions and then give up a fumble recovery for a touchdown and completely shut down this offense. Will they? Maybe, but from my perspective, the Bills kind of threw up on themselves and yet still were able to win this game. Like, they pissed down their leg and still got through this. So I don't think they'll do this again. But that being said, they were my pick to go to the Super Bowl this year, so I kind of have to ride with them.
Yeah. My whole thing, my only thing on that is like, I don't think they're gonna play this bad again. Like, I don't think Josh Allen's gonna come out here and throw 2 straight picks and then a fumble recovery for a touchdown. I don't think that's happening. But the reason they stunk and they still won is because, remember, we thought this game was going to be a blowout. I don't think anyone thought the Dolphins should have been in that game. Like, the Dolphins were a wounded team that really was just, you want to talk about playing with house money. They got credit on credit to play in this game. Like, there's no way they should have been in there. It's like they were not ready. I mean, Jalen Waddle goes out early and comes back, but he goes out with an injury. They're just banged up and shouldn't have been in that game, period. I mean, if Josh Allen and the Bills offense does that and the defense does that against Joey Burrow, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, and the defense has been hot recently, they're in trouble, I think. I'm not saying they're going to come out here and lose next week, or I think they're going to get blown out.
I think trouble is a good word, because you got to think their confidence isn't as high as it would have been if they had just closed that game out like 35-7 or 42-14, whatever, the pace they were on at that point. You got to think there's a little bit of self-doubt in them. Like, holy shit, if the wheels could fall off that bad, maybe, we got to hope it doesn't happen again. Maybe that gets in their heads. But I think the way they closed that game out kind of eliminates that. If they had struggled the rest of the way and kind of like limped their way to a win, I'd be more concerned. But they seem to settle down at a certain point. But then again, it's the Bengals. The Bengals are a good team. We're about to get to that game.
Mm-hmm.
And if we want to touch on it now or we want to touch on it after the Bengal kind of we do the Bengals recap, there's going to be a lot of emotions in that game, man. That's going to be a different atmosphere. So who knows?
Yeah. You know what? Now that you bring that up, I didn't even think of that. This is gonna be a different kind of emotional game because
Right.
it's gonna be different. And I just think of like how 49ers game that we're not going to talk about. There was a little back and forth there. Gino gets an early timeout touchdown. You know, the Seahawks are actually up at halftime. And I think the 49ers are like, oh my God, what's going on? Like, we're supposed to blow them out. And they finished that game by blowing them out.
Right.
And I think that's what I'm talking about, where the difference between them and the Dolphins. So like the first half, you're in it with the Dolphins. The Bills came out and just was like put their foot on the throat and said, "No way, we're losing this game against a team that really, on paper and like just looking at all the tools and matchups, they shouldn't even be close to them." And
Right. That's a good
the
point.
49ers like ran away with it, but at the same time, if the Bills rallied to, I mean, I think this is like you said, the emotional game. If they win this game, I think they're a good shot. I think it changes completely. I think if they win this kind of game, because this is kind of like an AFC championship game. The Jags are good. We just hyped them up, but I mean, is anyone going to pick against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs? I don't think so. I think it's going to be the Chiefs and whoever wins this game. And for all intents and purposes, I may be willing to say whoever wins this game may go to the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like, if you get a team that both teams just had big, close, huge wins. Because even though it was a disappointing win for the Bills, I think you still won and you won a close game. They're going to go into like a Super Bowl level game next
Right.
week.
Yeah.
I just think it's gonna it may wear you out. You may be just
Right.
so exhausted from this game that
Yeah.
it's
I think
emotionally draining.
I
But
think the theme of this weekend, and obviously there's still one to be played with the Bucks and Cowboys, but obviously the theme of this weekend was just surviving the storm.
yeah,
Whether you look at that Jaguars game, weather the storm, make a comeback, 49ers, weather the storm against the Seahawks, come back. Bills, weather that kind of flurry from the Dolphins, Bengals, they were down early, they made their comeback. So it's going to be interesting to see if maybe in the next round this continues or maybe if it changes, it flip flops now that people have kind of played a little bit. So who knows? But um, I'm interested to see how the kind of games shake out once we move on to the divisional round.
agreed. And I before we move on to this next game, the Bengals game, I think you're right. Minus today because we don't know how the games haven't even started yet for tonight's game. This is one of the best wild card week. I probably say this every year, but this is one of the best wild card weekends I can
This was a
remember in a
good slate,
while.
man. This was a good slate.
Great games. Even the blowout game. I say blowout. It was a pretty big blowout, but even that 49ers game, I was in it for the first half. The first half was
Right,
like,
right.
is Gino gonna do it? It's like, but great game so far. Let's get to the final one: the Bengals versus the Ravens. Another game where I thought this makes me a little worried about the Bengals. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought the Bengals were going to blow them out because, I mean, no Lamar. They don't really have anyone on offense beside Mark Andrews and J.K. Dobbins. Just real quick, an appreciation post for him. I hope that he's been trying to put this team on his back. And before the game, they were interviewing him, or like people were talking on the sideline saying, he was, he said he's almost back to 100%. And it kind of showed. Like there were in stages of this game. He's just a talent. And he's been banged up a lot, so it was nice to see him kind of be able to do a little bit more of what he's used to doing. But Tyler Huntley in the game, no Lamar Jackson, Bengals full strength, and the Bengals get a late touchdown, tied game going in the fourth quarter, and they get a late touchdown to go up, and they were able to hold on. Kind of like the Bills. My confidence isn't as high on the Bengals as it was a week ago. But with that said, I like this team. I like the Bengals. I kind of hope. I don't think I've picked them. You and I didn't pick them to go to the Super Bowl, but if they went to the Super Bowl again, I'd be very excited, and this time I would be 100% rooting for them to win Joey Burrow against. They're just a very likable team.
They are a likable team. Like you mentioned, this was a kind of a confidence reducing game for them. They kind of got bailed out by that 99-yard fumble return from Sam Hubbard. That completely swung the
Yeah.
game. Tyler Huntley was, I thought I saw he was 0.6 inches away from breaking the plane before that ball got punched out. So you got to think, when they say it's a game of inches, it is a game of inches. Like that is a difference between going up 7 and being down 7. So they get bailed out on a 99-yard fumble return. And I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. I don't know if it's Procky or Prochet. This dude barely misses.
Yeah.
Prochet barely misses the game tying Hail Mary, like at his fingertips. So if I'm the Bengals, yeah, you survive, you beat a division foe. What was this? This is the third time they would have seen them, right?
Yeah.
So we say this all the time. It's hard to beat someone after 3 games just because you see them so often. But if I'm the Bengals and I'm going into that locker room, man, we just stole one. We stole one. You mentioned it. No Lamar didn't even make the trip. That was an interesting move by him.
Very.
J.K. Dobbins had some interesting post-game comments on that. But yeah, I look at this game and the 99-yard fumble return, the barely missed Hail Mary, divisional game. Ravens obviously had a lot to prove. Bengals kind of coming off of shaking off the rust, not the rust, but kind of shaking out the cobwebs of that Bills game. Yeah, man. If I'm the Bengals, I'm thinking, man, we just stole one, and we have to play a lot better if we're gonna make a run here. So, if I'm looking at the Bills and the Bengals, if I'm the Bills, I feel a lot better about myself than I would be if I were the Bengals, because at least the Bills kind of came back down to earth, figured their stuff out, and pushed ahead. Whereas the Bengals, man, they limped across that finish line. So yeah, I mentioned it. Next week's gonna be an emotional game. Rematch of that Monday night game that got canceled after DeMar Hamlin went down. Bills are going to be jacked up. Bengals are going to be jacked up. This is for a spot in the AFC Championship game. Bengals want to go back. Bills want to go back. And I think, if we're
Bills
being
want to
honest,
make it.
if we're being honest, it's going to be the Chiefs on the other side of that. Knock on wood, maybe the Jags pull off some crazy shit, but it's probably gonna be the Chiefs waiting for you. So, this is it, man. This is the game.
Yeah, it's as well said, man. The thing I not to go back too far, what you make of the Lamar Jackson not making the trip, man? That's
always been an interesting move for me. I know Tua didn't make the trip for the Bills game, but I understand that given that he's in concussion protocol. Like,
right.
I imagine there's some logistics in the way of you don't want to get on a plane or travel
Right.
or something like that. So in Lamar's case, man, I don't know. Like that's an interesting move to not at least be on the sideline with your guys, helping Tyler Huntley, being that extra guy in the headset. It's an interesting move. Maybe there's a good reason for it. I don't know, but an interesting move nonetheless to not be there with your guys. J.K. Dobbins at the end of the game says, if we had Lamar, we would have won that game. I don't know if that's him saying, hey, we were playing with house money. We didn't have our guy. If we had him, we would have won. Or if that's a slight dig at Lamar saying, hey, man, you should have been here. I don't know.
Yeah.
I will say, I don't know if you saw it. I did see that Michael Vick said Lamar should just put a brace on it and get out there. That's
dumb.
A horrible take. A horrible take from a guy that should know better, considering he was also a mobile quarterback. I was really glad RG3 piped in and said, that's exactly what happened to me. And look at how my career went. I put a brace on it and then I ended up shredding my knee. So for Lamar, I'll never get on a guy for not playing when he's not 100%, but for not showing up, that for all I know, there was a good reason, but the optics are just another question he's going to have to answer, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I don't think anyone beside Michael Vick, which is crazy, would suggest he should have played. That's a wild.
Michael Vick has had some interesting takes as it happens anyway. So
yeah, but definitely a strange call not to come to the game. I don't really like that. Obviously, like Tua, like you said, his brain is mush right now, so it's Probably not good to put him on a plane,
No,
right?
no, I can't imagine.
Definitely
So,
a
no.
bad call, especially going up to Buffalo. I don't think that's a smart move, but you know, it's weird, man. It's definitely weird. It was a weird vibe and with the Baltimore Ravens too. Like Harbaugh was all ticked off during the game. He did you see him
I
chew out a
saw that.
reporter?
I
That was
saw
like
that. That was weird.
it's like it's just interesting. Like Dobbins had some was interesting after the game. It was just like weird vibe in Baltimore. So you may see this team entering the QB carousel. There could be a new quarterback coming into Baltimore. And to be honest with you, if I'm Lamar Jackson, I may want to leave Baltimore because they're not really doing anything for me to help me get a team around me.
He's done after this year, right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. I didn't know what the. Yeah, he's done. Yeah, this is it. So he's a free agent.
Yeah, so I mean he's like you said, he's got one more year on his deal. I mean, this is the last year on his deal, so beside Mark Andrews, I mean, what else have they put around him to help him
I mean, they
move
traded
forward?
Hollywood Brown. They took away a
Right.
complete option for him. So if I'm looking at it, Lamar is a free agent. People are. I don't know. I don't know if the team or the organization, whatever, is questioning why he didn't play. If they are, that's a horrible move because you're about to lose your guy. He's been nothing short of a team player, an impact player in this league. If you lose him, this is going to set the franchise back a lot of years. So if I'm the Ravens, I'm making every opportunity to re-sign him. If they don't, that's a huge mistake on their part. But that being said, if I'm the rest of the league and I need a quarterback and Lamar Jackson's on the the market, how do you not throw a big money contract at him?
Completely
Just
agree.
off the top of my, I mean, the draft might change things, so maybe it's more of a post-draft thing. But you take a look around and you think of like the Falcons, you think of the Panthers, you think of the Texans, who again these teams have high draft picks, so maybe they would rather take a rookie. But Lamar Jackson's a proven commodity, man. I know he has a kind of a, I don't want to say he's injury prone, but he has he's been banged up here and there. But he's a proven commodity. So you got to think, do these teams look at Lamar and say, we'd rather have something we know than something we don't in the form of a rookie quarterback? So I don't think Lamar Jackson's going to be hurting for opportunities. I don't think he's going to be hurting for free agency deals. And it's going to be up to the Ravens to bring him back and keep this thing rolling, or else, the Ravens are going to kind of fall back into the pack.
100%. And I just started looking at free agent quarterbacks this upcoming offseason. And this isn't even including Derek Carr, who we know is going to get moved.
Right.
And I think Zach Wilson could be a potential. I know he stinks, but he could be a guy that is like someone's going to want to take a chance on him. He's on year 2. Someone's going to want to take a chance on him.
Right.
But
If Sam Darnold, it's going to be Sam Darnold all over again. So
right, 100%. So these are the guys. Geno Smith, he's probably going to re-sign with the Seahawks, but
you'd think
he's
the
a free
Seahawks
agent.
would, yeah.
I think they'll want to get him back for another
I think
year.
the
He just
Seahawks
broke.
will resign him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's just a perfect match right now.
And I think he just broke the all-time Seahawks
He
passing
did.
touchdown
Yeah.
record. So they'll want to bring him back. How old is he too? He's
He's
I
up
think he's
there a
like
little bit.
32, 33, something like that.
I remember when he was at West Virginia. So
Been in the league for 10 years.
he's 32. Yeah, on the dot.
32.
So yeah, I mean, he's not young, but he's not.
He's not. Yeah,
You're not trotting 40-year-old Tom Brady out there, but
right. Number 2, Tom Brady. Tom Brady's a free agent this year
there you
too.
go.
Speaking of the devil, and he's gonna get some looks.
Yeah, he is not gonna go unsigned. Yeah.
Your boy Andy Dalton is available. He'll go somewhere to be a backup, I think, or he'll retire. You think he's retired?
I mean, he did his thing down in New Orleans, so I don't see why someone else would want to bring him in.
And he got a bunch of starts in New Orleans too.
True.
Jimmy G.
Yeah, man. I mean,
he'll get a chance somewhere.
Yeah.
I think he's going to the Jets.
He's not getting a starting job, but
You don't think?
no.
I think he may get the Jets job.
I think Mike White has that job as long as he plays half decent. They seem to really like him, man. That team was responding to him.
You know what? For 2 years, the 2 years he's been there, the games he's played, they somehow win and they respond well to him. You're right. I think Jimmy G will get a job. He'll get a chance to start. Like he'll be in a quarterback commission wherever he goes. I think he'll get a a quarterback competition spot. Like he'll have a
Okay.
chance to earn it. I think
That's
he
fair,
may
that's
be the
fair.
backup, but
That's
I
fair.
think he'll be in a spot.
No, that's fair.
Daniel Jones will re-sign with the Giants.
Yeah, no, that'd be a huge mistake.
That's a guy.
Taylor-
I'm gonna admit I was wrong on Daniel Jones. I shit on him a lot, and he's turned out to be a half decent quarterback.
I'd like to say it's tried to tell people that he wasn't it, but it wasn't his fault. It was someone else that was in his ear for the last 2 years. That happened to be in Mac Jones's ear for this
was wrong.
whole season.
I was wrong on Daniel Jones. I'll admit it right now.
But you know what? You know whose fault it was? That moron that's coaching our quarterback coach right now,
Joe Judge.
Joe Judge. Thanks a lot, Joe Judge. If that's not evidence enough, the way Daniel Jones played on Sunday to get
Quarterback
rid of
kiss
Joe
of death.
Judge, it's Joe Judge and Matt Patricia. Other free agents. Sorry, I'll go quickly through these. Jacoby Brissett will probably get a backup job.
Yeah.
Taylor Heineke.
I
More
think
of the
the Commanders will hang on to him.
Yeah, I think they'll try to re-sign him. Baker will get a backup. Sam Darnold probably will stay in Carolina. Stidham will probably stay in Vegas. Mike White will probably stay with the Jets.
It's gonna be kind of crazy if these guys all start moving around.
But of those guys that I just met, Joe Flacco will probably retire. Cooper Rush will probably stay in Dallas.
No,
Of
but you're
those
right.
guys,
Lamar Jackson's one, and then the rest of the field.
right? Even Tom Brady, for
You're
name's
getting a
sake,
1 year,
1
2
year
year
rental.
max.
Yeah, I think you're
Whereas
right. I
Lamar
think
Jackson, you're signing him to you're giving him Russell Wilson money.
he is 26 years old.
There you go.
He is younger than us.
He's a
Danny
year
Football.
he's a year older than Stetson Bennett, and Stetson Bennett just won the national championship with Georgia.
Right. So if the Ravens screw this up and get rid of him, or he doesn't want to go back, he'll be the top free agent
1
on
million
everyone's
percent.
list.
1,000,000%.
Or he should be. Anyone that needs a quarterback, he should be the top. He should be the top person on everyone's list.
Yes.
Just
100%.
out of curiosity, I want to look at wide receiver, just for my
It's
own.
bleak. It's bleak. I looked very recently. It's bleak.
And you know what? I was wrong about DeAndre Hopkins. I thought he was done. He was a free agent. He's not a free agent. You have to trade for him.
Well, evidently the price tag. I was trying to find.
I thought I saw a tweet on what the Cardinals would want for him. I thought it said first and a third. I could be wrong, but I thought I saw a first round pick in there. I'm like, you guys didn't even trade a first round pick for him. So
Yeah, I don't think
if the
he's gonna
Cardinals
get
are
a
trying
first
to,
round.
if the Cardinals are asking something crazy, that's unfortunate. But
Yeah.
I mean, you got him for a second and David Johnson. Like, you can't expect
Yeah.
the Patriots to give you 3 first-round picks for DeAndre Hopkins, fresh off of a PED suspension.
Right. And he's also what? He's probably in his mid 30s,
How old is DeAndre?
early
Hopkins?
mid 30s.
He is 30 on the dot.
Hey, a guy that the Patriots could get on free agency. I just saw. I know we're not talking about this, but I just got distracted looking at the website. Juju Smith-Schuster, a free agent. I'd take a flyer on Juju. He's
Take a
been
flyer
pretty
on
good.
Juju. Nelson Aguilar is probably out of here, so take a flyer on Juju.
Yeah. Jacoby Myers is also up there.
Got to lock him back up.
You got to lock him up. Lots of. I know we don't really need it, but lots of running backs in this free agent class.
That's the last thing we need.
It's the last thing we need, but just interesting to see. I just looked at it. The heads of that class are Saquon, Jacobs, Jamal Williams, Mostert. Like, there's some good guys in that. Kareem Hunt, Rashad Penny.
I want to say those top 3 stay put, but then again, I've seen some mock drafts where the Bengals take the Bengals. Oh my God, the Lions take a running back in the draft, and I'm like, why would they ever do that? They have Swift and Williams. They don't need to add another running back to this committee. But I don't know. Maybe that's with the thought of Williams walks and they bring in another guy. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. They have a good thing going with that team. I wouldn't mess up that running back.
No.
They got to draft defensive players. That's where I think the Lions should and probably will go with. But great wild card weekend. It's not over. We'll have to see. I mean, obviously the podcast will come out after that game, but we have not seen it yet. But on to the divisional round. So with that said, let's get into our next segment, Picks of the Week.
Picks of the week.
Picks of the week. We pick a game from the NFL upcoming NFL week. As I said during the Jags game, Danny football. I'm impressed myself here. Like this is like the Jags Bengals. I picked 2 last week, so we got to get you caught up. We got to get you caught up with picks this week. Maybe pick the. Do you feel strongly about one way or the other about tonight's game?
I'll take the Bucks.
I like it.
I'll take the Bucks.
All right.
I'll take the Bucks. I think they just have the Cowboys number. I think I saw that the Cowboys haven't won a home playoff game since 1993, and Tom Brady was in high school at that point. So I think experience is going to win out. It's a home game for Tom Brady. He's not going to lose that game. I think it's Bucks over Cowboys.
I agree. I also saw something else like a week ago that said Tom Brady's never lost to the Cowboys. It's like one of those teams he has. I think he's like 6-0 or something.
Yeah.
I'd ride with that. Do you want to pick 2 games from this week to catch up, or
yeah. Let's see.
besides the Bucks game?
I'll go Chiefs over Jags.
I like it.
And I'll go Bills over Bengals.
A little AFC showdown there. I like it.
Go AFC.
AFC all the way. This is a little bit of a parlay bet here.
Hey, I know I'm no big red, but I wasn't too far behind. So if you guys want to, throw something together here, come on.
I'll tell you, if you go 3 for 3 and I get one wrong, I mean that's all she wrote. Like that's
a swing right there.
That's a heck of a swing going on. Man, am I ready to?
Are you going for 2 or 1?
I picked 2 last week, so I'll go for 1. But I'm feeling. I don't know if I'm getting too cocky with my picks of the week. I'm ready. I was ready to make a bold.
Were you about to go Jags over Chiefs?
No, but I was looking at the one on the right there.
The one on the right.
Little NFC action.
Were you gonna go Giants over Philly?
I was thinking about it.
Hey man, this is you're the one on the heater. You're the guy who hasn't lost in 4 months. So
I didn't feel good about the Jags one last week. I just had a gut feeling and
gotta follow that gut, my man. Gotta follow that gut. If the gut's telling you one thing.
But something's drawing me to. I mean, I have.
You could take the easy way out. You could just go Chiefs over Jags.
No. The other one I was looking at was picking the 49ers over whoever they play. But then if they play the Bucks, I'm gonna feel bad. I'm gonna kind of hope they lose because you know what I mean. Like, hold on, I got to do one thing because I wasn't prepared. I was gonna go a different way.
I'm surprised. I'm worried you're overthinking it now.
I'm overthinking it, aren't I?
I'm worried you're going against what got you to the dance here.
I am. I think I am. Gosh, when people laughed at me for picking the Lions, I stayed true and I picked the Lions.
Dude, you were how did that Seahawks game end up? Yeah, dude, you were a Baker Mayfield overtime interception away from calling that Lions wild card. Your gut got you that far.
Hold on.
Your gut got you to overtime of week 18.
I know. Jeepers crow. You know what? I'm going to ride it.
You had no control over either. The Lions had no control of that game.
I love Jalen Hurts. I like Jalen Hurts a lot. No surprise to you.
No, trust me, Jalen Hurts is my victory lap. For all the quarterbacks I've been wrong on, Jalen Hurts was the one I was 100% right on.
I feel like this is what's going to snap this streak.
Oh, no.
I feel like this is what's going to snap it.
That or you're talking into existence right now.
Let's see.
For all you know, you're about to hand the Giants an NFC Championship game.
Oh, my God. I can't believe it. Give me the Giants over the Eagles. Give it to me.
Ayo, there
Yeah.
it is.
The Giants over the Eagles.
There it is. Put it in Sharpie.
Oh my god, I can't believe I did that.
Hey, dude, this is what's gotten you here. If the Jags if the Jags can cover your streak from 27 down, I don't see why the Giants can't get you one.
I don't see why. I don't see
Good
why.
team, good team. They just went on the road, took down the Vikings. Why not?
And you know what the reason I kind of say that is this team, I said it last week, this team has a lot of the feelings of that Eli Manning team that beat the Patriots in 07. It's just a team that sneaks in. They just find a way to the dance. They don't really have a good quarterback. It's gonna go up against like the best quarterbacks in the league. I like Daniel Jones, but he's not like he's obviously like I think people would pick Jalen Hurts 10 out of 10 times if they're picking a quarterback.
Yeah.
It just has that type of feeling of a game. And the last time the Giants played the Eagles was the last week of the regular season. The Eagles played everyone because they were trying to get that home game. Giants sat everyone, and it was a close game. Giants almost won that game. So, and they didn't have their starting players. So, it's a chance. This is a streak that's lasted me over almost 4 months, and
You'll clear 4 months before that game happens.
oh, I appreciate it. This is the confidence I needed.
Well, no, because mathematically the game's on what? When's the game? Saturday?
Saturday night.
Then yeah, because that'll be what, the 21st. So you'll get past the 19th.
Oh man, now I'm nervous. All right. So I'm thinking the Bucks are going to win this game too. So the Bucks would play the 49ers. Let's go through the rest of the division round. This is not for picks of the week, but this is just for our own sanity here. This is no repercussions on picks of the week because I did get one wrong last week that wasn't a pick of the week. I will admit I did pick one that was wrong. I thought who did I pick? I picked the Vikings to win over the Giants. So, but it was not a pick of the week. I made sure to say it. Made sure to put that in the italics. But since you already picked the AFC, I'll go quickly through. I'm going to pick the Chiefs.
Okay.
And I'm going to go Bengals.
All right.
I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to have us go up against each other. I was thinking Bengals, but I didn't want to go up against each other where it mattered. So I'll pick a preseason game against you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there we go. I'll hit it. I'll hit the NFC then. I'm gonna go Eagles. I'm gonna ride with my boy Jalen Hurts, and then I think the Niners are gonna beat the Bucks. So my final four is gonna look Bills, Chiefs, Eagles, 49ers.
So this is where it gets me in trouble because I picked the Bucks to be in the Super Bowl this next year. I mean, for this year, preseason. So I really feel like I got to stick with my guns here. But I also think the 49ers are going to be in the Super Bowl. So I'm trying to figure out who's going to be in the Super Bowl from the NFC.
They both can't get there, unfortunately.
It's very disappointing. Man. I really got to see how this game goes tonight. Gut reaction right now, 49ers make it to the NFC Championship game. But I could be swayed after this game if Tom Brady puts on an absolute clinic against the Cowboys. So I'll say 49ers for now, but I may text you and say I'm changing this. Are you still I think what was your preseason Super Bowl prediction? I forget what your Super Bowl I forget.
Bills.
I know it was the Bills, but I forget who you had. Was it Bills Bucks?
Did I go with the Bucks? I can't remember. Maybe.
I forget.
I don't know who else I would have picked. Honestly, I don't know who else I would have picked. Well, no, when would we have? Oh no.
We did preseason. I think I
I think
I
went
went
Bills Bucks. I don't know why I don't know why I would have went with anything else.
Yeah, I think because
I
I
think
went
I would-
Chiefs Bucks.
Yeah, I don't think I would have went.
Nah, yeah, probably Bills Bucks if I had to guess, but I don't think the Bucks are gonna do it.
Yeah. What do you think it's going to be Super Bowl? If you had to guess from the teams remaining, who do you think it's going to be? Assuming you stick with the Bills.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Bills. Bills Eagles. Yeah, Bills Eagles. I think the clock strikes midnight on the Niners in the NFC Championship game.
Fair enough. I think it's going to be the Chiefs versus the 49ers. As much as I wanted the rematch of the Bucks Chiefs Super Bowl, that was my preseason one, but I think I got to stick with the 49ers. All right, let's move on. Obviously, we had a lot of firings. I saved this for Danny Football this week. I wanted to get his take on this. We have the NFL coaching carousel going on. We had a bunch of fires. A lot of jobs open up. I think there's a potential for another one opening up. The Panthers fire Matt Rule. The Cardinals fire. We talked about it last week. What's his name? Kingsbury. Jeepers, bro. My mind's going crazy. The Colts had already fired their head coach, and they had that moron. What was his name? Jeff Saturday. I don't know how he got the head coaching job, but he was named head coach. And then obviously the Broncos fired that embarrassment of a head coach. Texans, I think, was a little scummy. They fired Lovey. Was it Lovey Smith? Is that his name?
Yep.
They fired Lovey Smith. It was kind of a scumbag move. 1 year, one and done. I thought he was.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that.
That's a tough
He did
move.
cost
but
them. He did cost them the number 1 pick on his way out, so I got to respect that.
Yeah, I think he knew it was I think that he probably heard something that he was going to get fired. So he's all right. We're going to win. We're going to get the first. We weren't going to get the first pick of the draft. Thanks a lot. Which I love that move. Let's start with. I also want to point out how the Cardinals GM fires Kingsbury and then resigns the next day. Isn't that such a classic move? He resigns from his office, but the last thing he does is fire the head coach.
Gotta love that.
Gotta love it. Let's go through these couple of positions and see if we can come up with someone you think is gonna be there. Let's start with the Carolina Panthers. Can you see? Is there any coach you think is gonna be slide into that spot?
Panthers. NFC. Maybe a Sean Payton, considering he knows the division.
I do have
just-
Sean Payton on my list, but I have him
I
somewhere
don't know
else.
if depends on how aggressive they want to be. I don't know, but I feel like that's a good pick because he knows the division.
Yeah, I kind of like that. I think Sean Payton is going to get a lot of looks this season. The guy I kind of want is an old friend of Danny Football's, and Danny Football has gone on this podcast as a guest and I think as a host and defended this guy. I'm gonna give this guy another chance. Let's give it to Jim Caldwell.
Yes.
I think
Very
he
good
deserves
pick.
somewhere a job, but I think the Carolina Panthers is probably a good way to start because it's got to be a rebuild, keep rebuilding, and I think he's good at that.
Good
So
pick.
give me
Un-
Jim Caldwell.
Unrightly fired from Detroit and set that franchise back.
100%. I'm rooting for him. Arizona Cardinals. Who do you think's going to Arizona?
They're probably looking at more of an offensive guy.
Remember, Kyler Murray will be out for most of that season,
Maybe. Oh man.
and they're gonna be blowing it up by getting rid of DeAndre Hopkins and all that stuff. Another rebuilding kind of coach. I have a guy in mind.
Who's your guy?
Guy that needs no introduction to a crappy team trying to rebuild, but having success on the defensive side. I get what you're saying, offensive side, but more defensive side. I'm going Brian Flores. Give Brian Flores another shot. Did it in Miami. Can do it again here.
Oh, Brian Flores.
Yeah. That's. Did it cut out?
Yeah, I missed it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Brian Flores. I think he did it in Miami. He can do it again in
All right.
Arizona.
I like that. Okay. I'd honestly, I think he'd fit better with the Colts
I
for
like
whatever
that.
reason, but I'm horrified that the league is going to blackball him from getting a job.
I hope not. I hope they give him a chance. He deserves it, dude. He's one of the best. Who's your pick for Cardinals?
Eric Bieniemy.
I love it.
I think on offensive mind, has never been a head coach. Kind of gets to start on a fresh canvas.
Day football in the 3 or whatever amount of years we've been doing this part of the Big Red Zone. I had picked Eric Bieniemy to get a new head coaching job every single year, and I hope you're right because I think he deserves it. But yeah, I don't know. He always gets. I think he gets a little kind of gets screwed because he doesn't call the plays on the offensive side. So like that's where he kind of gets a little bit of a problem. But I hope he does. I'm actually gonna pick him for the Colts job.
Okay.
Um,
Did he interview with the Colts? I saw he interviewed with someone.
he interviewed. I think he interviewed with the Colts, and he might have interviewed with the Bronco. No, I know he did the Colts, but he might have interviewed somewhere else. Actually, I don't see him anywhere. Yeah, it might have been just the Colts.
I thought I definitely saw he had an interview somewhere. I could not tell you where it was, but
Yeah.
evidently.
Yeah, I'm gonna go behind me for the Colts.
All right. I think for Colts, man, I'm gonna go Kellen Moore from the Cowboys.
Kellen Moore. What's his
He's the OC for the Cowboys.
I like it.
I think I yeah. Yeah, I'll ride with that.
Kellen Moore. Okay. Let's go Texans.
Texans are in a fucking free fall.
Yeah. Don't really know who
I think-
wants that job.
I think Gerard Mayo would have been top of the list if we didn't hang on to him, just because that seems to be the Texans' MO. They just take all of our guys.
Yeah.
I'll go Byron Leftwich from the Buccaneers.
I like that. I think he's gonna get a lot of looks. He's gonna get a lot of looks this year. I'm gonna go with it's gonna be a guy that really doesn't have a lot of experience. Have a tough offense, maybe want to build around a defense. I'm gonna go. I'm between two. Just gonna go with DeMeco Ryans.
Okay.
It's the 49ers defensive coordinator. I think he'll get a shot there. I like Byron Leftwich. I think he's a veteran guy. He's been around.
Broncos. I'm gonna go defensive. I think the Broncos will go defensive here because their offense sucks. Vance Joseph. He's the DC for the Cardinals.
I'm gonna go with Sean Payton.
All right. That would
They
be a
need
good
to
situation for him. See if he could fix Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I think he wants to go to a place. I don't think he's gonna come out of retirement to, go to a team that has to rebuild. I think he wants to go to a place that he thinks he can win. And as much as we're calling the Broncos a bust, I think they have a very capable defense and a very capable offense if it's coached right. You know what I mean? I mean, Russell Wilson isn't trash. He's not as good as he was, but I think he's not trash. I think, they're gonna get Javonte Williams back. They're gonna, try to figure out how to use Sutton and Judy, who are two really good young wide receivers. Maybe try to add to that. They got Albert on for the tight end spot. I think Sean Payton comes in there and maybe tries to shake it up, and he gets to work with a veteran QB, which I know he'll like. So give me Sean Payton. Give him a crack at it.
I like that. Resurrected Drew Brees. He can do it again.
Yeah, and the one thing I will say that couldn't, may not be out of left field is the Chargers, if the Chargers fire Stanley, which I think they're gonna, you could see Sean Payton go there. I think I could see. I
that could be a big one.
I think that's where he would probably end up over the Broncos. But definitely interesting to see a lot of head coaching jobs open, and did you see the story that McDaniels, not Josh McDaniels, the McDaniels from Mike McDaniels was a chance that he would get fired from the
That would be a
Dolphins?
huge mistake.
Huge mistake, but it brings me back to my rumors and the conspiracy theory that we heard last year that the Dolphins wanted to hire Sean Payton and bring in Tom Brady. So Sean Payton, if they fire McDaniels, knowing that they can get Sean Payton and Tom Brady in,
that would be an all-time come-around take for you.
that would be crazy. Let's get into our final segment of the night, the people's topic.
It's the people's topic, baby! People's topic.
So for people's topic, you run our Instagram and Twitter page at Big Red Zone. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you want to talk about. Up first, we have Mrs. Big Red.
Ayo.
She says, me.
I'd like to salute Mrs. Big Red for her for all the hard work she put in at her CrossFit gym. It's sad to see
I know,
that
it's sad.
but on to bigger and better things. The journey continues for Mrs. Big Red.
Yep, and you should come up to Danny Football's gym.
By all means, doors open.
Come on up. This one comes from Nick. Daniel Jones, top 8 QB. I don't think I'm ready to say he's a top 8 QB, but
I won't go that far. He's a good quarterback. I'm not going top 8.
He's definitely earned a lot of respect around the league. I'll say that.
Certainly top 15.
Top 15, I think, is a good. I think that's a fair assessment. And just think, when we get rid of Joe Judge and Matt Patricia, Mac Jones will become back up to a top 15 quarterback. Could this be the year that the Jim Kelly Bills curse gets broken? This one comes from Ed.
I think this is as good a chance as any. That's a window that isn't going to be open forever either. I mean, Stephon Diggs is getting older. Josh Allen's coming off that. Josh Allen is he had a really good year. He's not. I mean, he's young, but again, can't be burning years like Mac Jones. So, I think this is as good a chance as any.
I agree. I think you're running out of years with this team. You know what I mean? Like, we were talking about Josh Allen, kind of just, he may be getting frustrated not winning. It's been a few years that they should have probably made a deeper run. Stephon Diggs is getting older. Once you get past that, like, there's not a lot of other elements on that team. Defense is kind of getting older. Kind of staples of that team that's been around for a long time are getting old. Josh Allen isn't, but like the other,
gotta be careful.
Yeah. So I think the window, I don't think it's closing, but could be closing within the next few years. So I think you need to start making a move. I think you need to, like, the Celtics, get over the Eastern Conference Finals hump.
Right.
They got to get over that AFC Championship hump and get to the big dance. So, this is a big one. Last one comes from Joseph_Celia. He wrote a novel here. So,
oh man, all right.
Get ready. This is actually, if he goes where he's going, right after the first words, if he goes where he's going, I almost tweeted this out and I was like, that's crazy. But Kirk Cousins has been with the Vikings for 5 years now. During this time, he's missed the playoffs 3 out of the 5 years. In 2 years, he's made it. He's gotten them 1 playoff win. You know who he is? He's the new Andy Dalton.
Damn.
Will win you games in the regular season, but the team as a whole will seem fraudulent. The 2010 Bengals, and they'll lose in the first round. He's 1-4 in his career in the playoffs. Oh, and he targeted the best wide receiver in football only 3 times in the second half yesterday. He had an exclamation point in there, but I didn't do it justice.
I mean, I'm not one for Andy Dalton slander, but he's not wrong. I mean, this is a team that tore through the regular season, won a couple games that they probably should have lost. I think there were 7-0 in 1-score games. So this had all the makings of a team of destiny that was finally putting it all together. Kirk Cousins seems like he had finally figured it out. and they lose in the first round of the playoffs. So I've never been a huge Kirk Cousins guy. He's a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. He's a very pedestrian quarterback. I think if the Vikings want to take the next step, they got to make a change there. I don't think Kirk Cousins is the answer. So
He's
that's
got more
another-
Danny football.
oh,
He's got
man.
more.
Go on.
Sorry. You know who I'd rather take than Kirk Cousins in the playoffs? Jimmy G. Now I
Wow.
may sound crazy because the eye test will tell you Kirk Cousins is better and more durable. But difference is Jimmy G wins 5-2 in his career in the playoffs. Minnesota needs to move on from Cousins. It's time.
Okay, so that's a pretty good segue.
Same thing. Yeah, it's pretty
They
much
do. They do need to move on. Is Jimmy Garoppolo the answer? Probably not. But I mean, it's a change. Maybe, who knows? But you have Justin Jefferson. He's young. He's on a rookie deal. You need to move now. And Kirk Cousins is not the move.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about the QB carousel coming around. There's plenty of options that I think you can get in there that
Lamar
maybe
Jackson changes the complexion of that team exponentially.
and the guy that I said, which sounds crazy, I haven't heard it on any radars. I don't know if I don't really think it's very realistic. Tom Brady. Bring Tom Brady in.
It's a dome.
It's a dome. He gets Justin Jefferson like Randy Moss. We're comparing him to Randy Moss. He gets a young Randy Moss. Let him go to work. He's got TJ Hawkinson, good running back, and Dalvin Cook.
Half decent
Let it ride.
defense.
Half decent defense. Let it ride. An offensive minded head coach.
That's
Let
a
it
good
ride.
take. Brady to the Vikings. That's a good take.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. But thank you to everyone that wrote into our people's topics. Remember, you can write in on our Instagram and Twitter page at Big Red Zone. Leave us a comment. Give us a follow. Let us know what you want to talk about. Also follow us on TikTok at Big Red Zone. You know, find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the like button. Hit the notification bell so you know when our episodes come out and other videos drop. And as always, please tell a friend. Happy birthday to the one and only Danny Football.
Thank you, sir.
My thanks as always for him joining this week, and have a great week, everyone.